Okay, let's make the if and while compile here. So the first test is a while statement. Where are our statements here? This is such a small visitor right now. Got assign and return. Let's go ahead and add our while here. We're going to override and want we're probably going to want all three of these. All right, but for now, we want the pre-body visit. So after our condition, we're going to want to generate an FEQ that jumps out of the loop. So we're going to say code add equal op. We need to give it a line number. The line number is going to be the line number of the previous statement, right? So the expression in the condition. So we're going to want to get the previous line. This is going to be code.get, code.size -1 dot get line, right? So that's the previous, and then we're going to use that here. And the destination will leave as 0 because we don't know where we're going to jump to. Now, later we're going to have to come and update this FEQ op. So we're going to need an object to keep track of that information. So I'm going to create a static class that's going to be while info, and it's going to have in it the offset of that branch. So we'll call it branch to end index, I guess. And then up here at the top in our class, we're going to want to keep track of those. So much like the load op stack, we're going to want a stack of the while info objects. And we'll want to initialize that. It's just for consistency. We need this there. So here, we're going to want to push the index of that onto the stack. So we're going to say while stack.push new while info. I guess I could make a constructor, but that would be kind of annoying. I think I'll just do this. And then we'll set info dot branch to end index is going to be code.size here. And then we'll push info. All right. So we got our previous line. Okay, so we create our while info. We remember where this branch is going to be. We get the previous line, create the if equal op. And then at the end of our while, we need to do a couple of things. We're going to need to jump back to where we started, right? So we're going to say code.add a goto op. Again, I think we need, actually in this case, we need the statements. I think it's the body's end line. Why isn't that working? Is get body not a, get body's just a statement. Okay, so I guess maybe we want previous line again. I think we want to create a method for this previous line. So let's do that. And we'll put that, I guess, down at the bottom. Okay, and then we can use it here too. And this one is going to need to go back to wherever our while loop started. So that's another thing we're going to want to keep in while info. So we'll have start index, I guess. And so in pre-visit, actually, it turns out we're going to have to do this in pre-visit, right? Put the while info on the stack for this while loop. So we'll do that. We'll set the start index to be code.size, right? Wherever we are at the beginning of the while loop. Here, we're going to update branch to end index. So info, we can say while stack.peak and update that. And we add the if equal. And then in our post visit, we're going to do that peak again, I guess. So previous line is fine, and it'll be while stack dot peak dot start index is the destination we want. We also, actually, we're going to want to use this more than once. So let's set this. Info, it's this. Actually, it's going to be a pop because we want to get rid of it too. So this is going to be info.start index. We also need to update the branch at the end of the condition to jump past this go to op, right? So we need to say, we're going to say code.get info.branch to end index. And this is going to be a branch op. And then we're going to update that branch's destination to be info, no, not info, code.size, which is the size where we are right now. All right. So when we first see the while, create a while info for it, put it on the stack, set the start index to be our current location so we can jump back to it later. Before the body, we need to add the FEQ op, and then we also need to remember where this is so that we can update it later. And then at the end, we're going to create a go-to that goes back to the start index and update the other branch. All right, I think that might work. Yes, okay, so we're compiling whiles successfully. 2 whiles is okay. So we need to go on to the if statement now. All right, we're going to need all of these probably. And okay, so we're going to do something very similar here. We're going to need a class to keep track of stuff for the if. And we'll have a pre-then branch index. So we're always going to have a branch before the then block. So right now, let's not worry about else's. So when we come in, we're going to evaluate the condition, and then we're right here. So I guess up here, we'll probably create the, do we have to do anything before the condition? I guess we don't. Maybe we don't need the previous. All right, so here we're going to create our info and put it on the stack. So we'll say if info, and then we're going to say if stack.push info. We'll have to create the if stack. Right. And then here we're going to need to add the branch, and we're going to need to remember where it was. So code.size, and then code.add new FEQ. And the line number, again, I think will be previous line. Destination will be 0 for now. And then at the end of our if, we need to pop the info. And then we're going to need to update the branch to the end, right? So info dot, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so instead of calling it this, we'll call it this for now, I guess. Pre-then branch index. So we need to do a branch up. Get the branch at this index. Set destination to the dot size. So we jump to the end of the if. This is, I think, okay for now. Let's see how far we got here. Okay, so we did the first if successfully. We're not handling the else. That makes sense. Okay, so I think we're going to have to decide what to do here, right? So we have a before our else, we're going to need a go to that goes to the end. So, and we're going to have to remember where that is. So let's call this branch to end index. And when we have an else, maybe that's okay. Is that okay? I don't know. There are a couple of ways to do this. I'm not going to go for the best possible way. All right, so branch to end index is fine. Pre-else visit, we're going to make that branch jump here, right? So branch up, code.get. We need the info. So peek at the stack. Here we're going to do info.branch to end index. And then we're going to update this up. Set dest code.size. And then we need to add our go-to that will jump over the else block, right? So this go-to is now going to be the branch to end index. I guess we can just use the same thing, right? And code dot add. And do we want the previous line? We probably do. There are some tests for line numbers, so we'll find out if I'm getting this wrong. So branch to end index is updated. We put in the go-to that jumps past the else block. And then at the end, this branch to end index was either set here, and so we're making the jump go past the else, or it was set here. This might be right. Let's see what we got. Okay. This, I figured out a way to get past this refreshing all the time. If you say select default profile and you choose this delegate to Gradle thing, then it runs faster and it doesn't do that refresh, but it also won't show you nice diffs when, like, if this code is wrong. So it's actually not that great. Okay, so what's wrong? Our if EQ is going to 11 instead of 12. Okay. That is because, yes, we want this go to actually be up here. We want to do the go to first. So we do the go to as part of the then block, and then we're going to update the branch to jump to where we are now, right? Still not right. Yeah, so see, switching this default is just not productive right now because we want to keep looking at these diffs. Oh, I got a class cast exception. So my index is wrong. This has to be before. Yeah, this has to be before the go to. Okay, and I'm overwriting that. Okay, this has to be at the top. I also need to store the first condition branch index is, and then we overwrite that and create our go to, and then we're going to use this. Certainly these variable names could be better. I could rework this a little bit and make it nicer, but we're passing the tests, and it turns out that the line numbers are correct, so that previous line is doing the right thing for each case.